Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to today's broadcast this evening. My name is Thomas Ezoke, and thanks so much for joining me this evening. As the title suggests, obviously, we're aware that the Kenyans have done something that the Nigerians are unable to do. Some of you have said that Kenya is not Nigeria. Why? Because the Kenyan president, Ruto, has sacked all his cabinet members, basically dissolved it. Just imagine for 1 second that you Nigerians protested. Those in Asoro would wake up and say, because of your protest, we have heard you loud and clear. We are going to sack all the incompetent ministers serving under the government. Is that possible? I don't know. But that is what has just happened in Kenya. That as a result of their resistance, as a result of their protest, as a result of whatever they did, their government basically said they are sacking all those ministers in government. That is an amazing feat. We can always say to you that the Kenyans have really achieved that which many, what Nigerians couldn't achieve. Basically, that's what it is. It's as simple as that. Let's hear the Kenyan president as he basically made that announcement.
Via a review and reorganization of our budget and fiscal management have brought us to an inflection point. Upon reflection, listening keenly to what the people of Kenya have said, and after a holistic appraisal of the performance of my cabinet and its achievements and challenges, I have today, in line with the powers given to me by Article 1521 and 1525B of the Constitution and Sections 12 of the Office of the Attorney General's Act, decided to dismiss with immediate effect all the cabinet secretaries and Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, of the Cabinet of Kenya, except the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs. And of course, the Office of the Deputy President is not affected in any way.
You heard that? That is a nation where when the people come out to put forth their anger, say, we do not like what is happening, the politicians appear to still have element of respect for the people. And you just heard the Kenyan president there in a very simple term saying, okay, we've had you. Not only that Kenyans have basically withdrawn the finance bill, because remember, when they withdrew the finance bill, the Kenyans did not leave the street. They stayed on the street. They protested to the point last week, their president had a Twitter space with them, hours, speaking to young Nigerians. I will say to you, do not wish to be a Kenyan or don't jack back to Kenya. Because here we are in this country called Nigeria, the one who won the election. No, did I say won the election? The one who was mahmood into the post through INEC processes. Never attended any debate, never cared to debate anyone, and did not say anything meaningful that anybody could hold him responsible for. I mean, tell me what. Okay. Maybe he said, no, I don't know. I don't know what it meant. But there was nothing. Even the ones defending him, at some point, they could not
Today, I want to declare without equivocation. Sorry.
You see? So even those defending him was anyway, even the former vice president said it. We are where we are, where we are, where we are, where. So that's the reason why we were at some point every.
That is okay. Let me explain. No, it's okay.
Yeah, everybody had to up their mic. But on a serious note, people, there is something that has happened, and that is very simple. That the people of Kenya, the president of Kenya, the young people in Kenya, the system in Kenya, recall that the system in Kenya, a couple of years back, when Uhuru Kenyatta was contesting for his second term, actually annulled a whole election, which is almost an impossibility in Nigeria because we consider this, we consider that, allegations of money moving at night, money moving during the day, I do not know. But there are things you stay in Nigeria, you look across the continent and you think, wow, these things, they happen now. But here, what do we have? All we hear in this part of the world is that the president, the one in the assault in the rock, that it appears he is being held hostage. And you ask yourself, what do you mean that it appears the man is being held hostage? It's not me, it's not you didn't hear that from me, but you will hear that from the horse's mouth. That now the accusation is he being held hostage or not? Right? Let's listen to this.
The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, announced new measures aimed at reducing food prices within 180 days. Kyari shared the details on Wednesday in a statement on X, outlining a series of initiatives that will be rolled out to address the escalating food costs, which include a 150-day duty-free import window for food commodities and the suspension of duties, tariffs, and taxes for the importation of certain food commodities through land and sea borders. Dr. Bati, I'd like to read out Kyari's statement, but I know that you guys discussed Ali Ndume. I'll read that to our viewers. Meanwhile, the Chief Whip of the Senate, Ali Ndume, while reacting to a resolution of the Senate, which advised the federal government to address hunger in the land or face the wrath of the people, alleged that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been held captive by forces in the presidential villa who have been feeding him with lies and shielding him from selfless Nigerians who can't tell him the truth. I heard all of you, condemn this actual statement by...
Now, why would anyone condemn that statement? During the time of Buhari, everybody, even there was a time the Tinubu could not see the president. It took him to go with Bisi Akande to go to London and see Buhari. So it's not a new thing to hold a president hostage by certain cabals whenever election is finished. So in this case, Ali Ndume has not said anything out of place that will warrant some of you debunking or trying to harass
Ali Ndume, because only recently we even saw the president's wife advocating for women to become farmers. Are you entering that initiative?
Well,
yeah? Is that why they're calling you agriculture?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've seen that.
Life.
We've also heard, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has, declared an emergency on food. But in the meantime, like I talked about Abubakar Kyari releasing that statement, if you recall last week, that statement was deleted. I believe it was by Ononuga. He had deleted that same actual statement. If you can pull that statement up, if you see that tweet, it was a post by Kalu who actually did a screenshot of that tweet. And
I kind of like Nigerians because these guys, I actually read that tweet, but I thank God for Kalu that Kalu actually had to do the screenshot because nobody these days, you thought, you read them, you think it's one of those them nonsense and jargons that they write. You didn't bother to even do a screenshot. But Thank God that Carlo was able to.
And yeah, there it is. But let me just read Kyari's statement. I'll read them in part. He wrote, the federal government will import 250,000 metric tons of wheat and 250,000 metric tons of maize. These semi-processed commodities will be supplied to small-scale processors and millers across the country. 3. Engagement with relevant stakeholders to set a GMP and purchase surplus food commodities to restock the National Strategic Food Reserve. 4. Ramp up of production for the 2024-2025 farming cycle. 5. Renewed Hope National Livestock Transformation Implementation Committee. This committee has been inaugurated on Tuesday, July 9th, 2024, to develop and implement policies prioritizing livestock development in alignment with the National Livestock Committee. We talked about this on Tuesday. You weren't here, Ayo, when we discussed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's new livestock ministry. But I believe there was some sort of brouhaha when that information about taxes on importation of certain goods. And now the minister has clarified it, that there will be taxes on certain goods. I believe there's rice as well as wheat and maize as well as that. I don't know why there was that confusion in the first place, but this, they captured it properly when that news broke out. Yeah. People were saying that, you know, it wasn't correct, but this they said may consider. But at this point, we have seen Abubakar Kyari confirming that there will be no taxes for 150 days.
All right, so I think that the threat of his job is now making him really galvanized to coming out, because if they're like the agricultural minister, because you know, again, better late than never, but this ought to have come out much earlier, especially since the president had announced a state of emergency on food security. The efforts must be commended in terms of seeing just how much the extent of these policies will affect the availability and price of food in the markets. Just to confirm, like you read out the tweet. Yes. He talked about the metric tons of maize being distributed.
Anyway, people, what we have to know from here is very simple. Whether the president is held hostage in Asarok, whether he is held hostage in the Azar room or on the street, wherever, the simple truth is that the infrastructure is falling apart and the people are hungry. When I say hunger, hunger is wiring people. A bag of rice, like I said to us yesterday, that over the Christmas we bought 50 kg for 47 to 50,000, depending on location. If you're going to collect by yourself, locally made, you get them 47, but if they're going to be delivered, 50 because of transportation. So you can imagine that. But suddenly, the price has doubled, yet the earnings, the take home of the people hasn't. In other words, however we want to look at it, however we want to cut it, however we want to dice it, one thing is very clear. Something is cooking, and they are beginning to get jittery. Suddenly, the Minister of Agriculture is beginning to react. I mean, if they were competent enough, there ought not to be any reason why we should be having a Ministry of Livestock. I mean, is livestock not part of agriculture? Again, this is as many have argued, this is a way of trying to loot money and just to do their normal thing. While this is ongoing, nations are serious. People are doing what they can. In our own, it turns into joke. As we all know, yesterday, Wike's wife was sworn in as a judge in Abuja yesterday. And, those quote unquote, some people went there to, celebrate with him. And one of them, it's the former governor of Abia State. As usual, in his usual manner, Wike used the opportunity after the event has finished after the event finished at the Supreme Court, to go home and release another song. You know, as usual, they're wicked. There's never dull moment. While Kenyans are fighting, people are taking them serious. Here in this part of the world, what we have is comedy and comedians. I pity those who do not understand Igbo. You give these people, and my hands are clean, and I mean, come on. And he continued, actually. You see, these were the men he deceived, with the exception of the governor of Oyo, Sheyi Makinde. But every other one he deceived. Autumn, that was following him like a baby. Autumn did not win his Senate seat. Ikpeazu did not. So it's still calling them G5. Adult behaving like And some of you will say, why is he suddenly singing in Igbo? These are my hands. Please, heaven and earth, bear me witness, my hands are clean. Now, is he sending a message to someone? Because the comedy in River State comes in some sort of, angle that in one part, they will, I'm not saying, he must not, but he denies he's not. He has no Igbo ancestry. He has nothing to do with Igbo. But when the chips are down, he will, but that's a story for another day. Maybe he's using music to send a message to Fubara. Let's wait before the weekend, during the weekend. Maybe Fubara would compose his own and send back. It now becomes like when a man and the wife is quarreling, they will use songs to send messages across to one another.
The music, when we're in the trenches.
Yes.
When we're in the trenches.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's it's almost like watching Odumeja. It's more or less. Odumeja, anyway, you are here. Let me hear.
I don't come for church business or stories, or come here and begin to do like homosexual glory. The Bible says something. Oh, hallelujah. They say, oh, this man is a man of God. If Kakusi Okunwaya. Udo di Leono Kagatawe.
Say, come get away. Anyway, you see, watching that. Sorry. It sounded like when Odumeje was shouting about the powers that he.
I have so many power. Le Baduse play lamante. I have a bito shaker. I have never touched those ones. I have the boost kabash. Yes, I have Ganduka Gandusan. Mbeg Iwalonios.
You know, the thing is, after all the things they sang the whole of 2022 and early in last year before the election, all of them, Ugwani, the former governor of Enugu State, lost his seat. The one in Benue State lost his seat. Former governor of Ab. So all of them lost. All of them lost. Only Wike. Now the same gang is come back. It's come back again, and they're releasing them more songs. Anyway, that's on a lighter note. But on another plan, the Supreme Court of Nigeria ruled today that the state governors do not have any right to withhold the funds of local government councils. That is to be applauded. You know, that case, in as much as Buhari wasted the Nigerians' time, but it must be noted that that case started during the time of Buhari, where there was back and forth, even the states rejected themselves that they do not want that to happen. But again, finally, we must keep saying facts, irrespective of which direction they go. In this case, the state had won by means of stating very clear. The Supreme Court has made it very clear that the local government must get their fund and use their fund. What that means for us is, people, the reality is, is coming very, very clear that we now, once implemented, that we will now have proper 3 layers. Before now, apparently we have 2 layers, the federal government and the state. Now, we must pay attention, all the trillions coming into our various local governments. It is now for us to know the roads belonging to states and the roads belonging to local government, because that is, the state governors had made it that everything was muffled and and lumped together, that there was no clear demarcation. At least, in most of the states, you can know this one is the federal government road. Everybody apparently knows that, but there is no way people now know which one is belonging to the state. Even the inner streets, we should know who is our local government chairman, who is the councillor. If these roads, not every road that we must do with bitumen and whatever, what you have you, there are roads, the way they do it in Lagos. If you go to Amo Odofin, it's a very clear example. You do them with the interlocking. The interlocking, they even last longer, and these are local government roads. Even community estates have to do that. Many of us in our various ancestral homes that we have done, some of the roads we've done them with such materials, and it's something that ought to be encouraged. So, I think on that note, it is a very good thing that happened today, that the Supreme Court delivered that judgment. On that note, people, I will say, I want this stream not to be more than 30 minutes, just a quick update. And for those of you who may wish to listen to Violence Space, I think we would have I think Violence Space will be the next program that will be coming up. So stay tuned. Hopefully, the staff members at the back office should be able to start streaming the Violence Space shortly. Thank you very much. I'm still Mazes. Okay, join me tomorrow in my Friday hangout, 8 p.m. Nigerian time. I am Mazes. Okay. Good.